Hey everybody, what's going on? Nexius here, bringing you guys a artifact pathing guide. So this is going to be for both PvE and PvP. So in the artifact weapon here, we have two different ways we can go. We can go left and then to the bottom, or we can go right and then up to the top. So what you choose is up to you. But in my opinion, both PvP and PvE cases, going to the bottom left is a lot more valuable. And I'm going to show you guys exactly why. So most of you guys should know Tiger Palm really doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Black Oak Kick also doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. It also only costs 1 chi. So Tiger Palm here, increasing the damage by 30% really isn't that much value. Tiger Palm doesn't do a whole lot of damage in the first place, so going for this first really doesn't matter. On top of that, we have a chance to increase an increased chance to make Black Oak Kick free. It's really not that big of a deal. It's only 1 chi, and Black Oak Kick doesn't do a whole lot of damage anyway. So by picking this up to increase 6% chance on that combo breaker, not a whole lot of value. It's pretty decent, but overall not a whole lot of value compared to bottom left. Then we have Spinning Crane Kick, which will increase the damage of it by 10%. We only use Spinning Crane Kick in a few AoE areas, so basically it's not used all the time, which means it kind of devalues this trait since you don't use it all the time. You don't always get value out of it, only in specific situations, so because of that, it kind of reduces the value of it. The next one we have up here is Transcendence Healing Over Time. The Healing Over Time is useful in PvP, but honestly, you should always have healers with you, whether it's battlegrounds or arenas. So is it really worth sacrificing a lot of damage on the bottom left just to pick up a Healing Over Time effect? Maybe. It really depends on what you're going to do. If you are going to duel in 2v2 and maybe battleground a lot, then maybe you want to pick this up. But honestly, I still think bottom left is a lot more valuable. So overall, you can see it's a healing over time effect, and the damaging effects up here just aren't that valuable. Now, we do have a golden trait here, which will cause Fist of Fury to do a little bit extra damage. It's kind of nice, but again, the golden trait compared to the bottom left is just not as good, in my opinion, at least from a PvP perspective. So overall, going to the top isn't worth it. Now, I've looked up some guides, and I've gotten some opinions on other players. I've read their posts and stuff, and everyone seems to agree bottom left is a lot better. And this is exactly why. So, the top abilities that we use that do the most damage are Fist of Fury, Strike of the Windlord, Whirling Dragon Punch, and Rising Sun Kick. Now, in the bottom left, we have Rising Sun Kick, that's a big one right there, and we have Fist of Fury, that's another big one right there. Fist of Fury is our #1 ability in PvE, and in PvP as well, with the stun effect and everything. So having your main ability increases down here compared to simple things like Tiger Palm, it's kind of obvious that bottom left is a lot better. So in addition to Rising Sun Kick damage and Fist of Fury damage, we also have Touch of Death right here. It's basically a 10% damage increase. When you put Touch of Death on a target, whether it's PvE or PvP, 10% of the damage you deal in those 8 seconds it counts down is going to be added into Touch of Death. So it's kind of like a 10% damage increase. It's kind of like a miniature Tiger Eye Brew if you want to compare it to something. So it's a pretty big damage increase compared to something like Tiger Palm or Black Oak Kick Chance with Combo Breaker. So honestly, bottom left is pretty obviously the best. And of course, we also have here damage increase on Storm, Earth, and Fire and Serenity if you are spec'd into it. As you can see here, we'll spec into it and you can see it changes to Serenity. So whatever you choose to do here, I do recommend bottom left is definitely the best. Now, let's go over what the order of your traits should be. Now, of course, you will get your artifact weapon, you'll get your first talent, and now you have to choose where to go. Now, here's what I chose to do. I went 3 out of 3 Rising Winds, then, because I choose to PvP, I went to Good Karma. After that, I went to Death Art, into Light on Your Feet, and then I picked up Gale Burst, and then I went down to Fist of the Wind, and then I went out this way, and then to Tornado Kicks, and then everything's pretty simple from there. I'll go to the trait, up here, and then all the way down to finish it, or to finish off the artifact weapon. Now, the question is, should you skip anything? Now, it really depends. Now, if you are a PvE only player, if you know you are not going to do any kind of PvP, you want to skip Good Karma, and you want to skip Gale Burst. So basically, if you are not doing PvP, keep that in mind, what you want to do is Dark Skies into Rising Winds, into Death Art, into Light on Your Feet, into Fist of the Wind, into Spiritual Focus, into Inner Peace, into Tornado Kicks, into your Transfer the Power, into Tiger Claws, into Crosswinds, and then you finish off going to the right, and you pick up Good Karma last. Actually, no, you don't. Yeah, you pick up Good Karma last. Actually, I think if you go to Crosswinds, once you go here, don't go up this way. Once you pick up Crosswinds, you probably want to pick up Gale Burst next, and then after that, you can go this way. Because these are pretty small increases, and Good Karma and Healing Winds are defensive stuff, so you can probably forego those, and instead just pick up this. So once you go all the way around this way, And you pick up that. Don't forget to pick that up as well. You go this way. Once you get to crosswinds and you pick that up, pick up your third, then you want to go this way and you're good. That's what I recommend as a PvE player. As a PvP player, a lot of your defensive from Touch of Karma will come from good karma. Gale Burst is important for scoring kills in arena. So like I said, you want to go this way, pick this up, then you want to go down, pick up Gale Burst, go down, and then you want to go like this. So it's pretty simple. That's pretty much how the guide works, and the reason for that is because Gale Burst is really only good in burst, and you don't really need this compared to PvE, because in PvE, sustained damage is really nice. Because if you skip good karma and you skip Gale Burst, that saves you 2 talents, and those 2 talents can go somewhere else. For example, Tornado Kicks, which is a 25% damage increase to Rising Sun Kick, and then of course Transfer the Power, which is up to a 30% damage increase to Fists of Fury. So by skipping these 2 traits, you can get over here much quicker and pick up Tornado Kicks and everything else much faster. So that's why in PvE, you're looking for a lot of damage, and Gale Burst and good karma don't give you any kind of damage compared to up in this area. So that's why you want to go that way and skip those 2. But in PvP, it's very different. You need burst damage. Windwalker monks are very good at burst damage, and that's where they excel. So trying to get a kill in burst is very important with Gale Burst, and if you're trying to live against a team, you really need good karma, because without this, Touch of Karma only heals you, or it only absorbs 50% of your health, so it breaks pretty quickly. But if you have good karma, it's also going to heal you. So if it heals you for 50% of your health, and it absorbs 50% damage, that's technically a 100% threshold. So you're basically doubling the effect of Touch of Karma by picking this up. So that's why it's really important to pick it up pretty quickly as a PvPer, but as a PvEer, you can afford to skip this, as well as Gale Burst, and then go all the way around. Now, if you guys have any questions about the artifact traits or anything, just leave a comment down below. Now, one more thing we will cover is the relics. So we have relics here. We have a Storm, Iron, and Storm. So if you get like a Holy Relic, we'll go to something real quick here. We have a relic right here, Fell Relic. You can't use it, as you can see here. So you can't use any relics unless they are Storm and Iron as a Windwalker. Now, what these relics do is you can apply them in 3 slots. You get 1 Iron slot and 2 Storm slots. Now, what these do is they will give you weapon item levels, and they will also give you 1 rank in something random. So as you can see here, you have plus 40 item levels on the weapon. My weapon item level is 875, and I also get plus 1 rank to something completely random. So I have Transcendence here, I have Fists of Fury, and I also have a Touch of Death. Now, when it comes to PvE, the best one is going to be Fists of Fury, the 5% damage increase. As you can see here, I have a plus 4 rank. If you can get Fists of Fury in all 3 slots, you will be very well off. So that's the most valuable trait. The next one would probably be Rising Sun Kick, and I don't know what would be best after that. But you do want Fists of Fury first, and if you can't get a Fists of Fury one, you want to pick up a Rising Sun Kick. Now, there are a few other ones that you can get, like I said, Touch of Death, which isn't that great. Transcendence, it's great if you're doing PvP, but for PvE, it's not. So for PvE, you want Fists of Fury or Rising Sun Kick, and if you can't get those, the energy one is pretty decent as well, and I think that's pretty much it. So the only real question here is, when do you replace a relic? So right here we have an item level 840 relic. Now the item level on the relic doesn't matter. What matters here is the rank and the plus item level to your artifact weapon. So if you see there, it says plus 40 item levels. Now let's take a look here. We have a Fist of Fury plus 42. Now what if I get a plus, say, 45 item level, but it's not Fist of Fury? Let's say it's Rising Sun Kick. Well, you don't really want to replace it. The only time you really want to replace Fist of Fury trait with something else is if it's like 5 or more item levels higher. For example, this is a 42. If it's a 47 or higher, you can afford to switch out the Fist of Fury with that new relic. So that's pretty much when you want to switch it out. I would recommend if it's at least 5 item levels or higher, then you can afford to sacrifice the Fist of Fury. Now that's basically from a PvE perspective. You want Fist of Fury, then Rising Sun Kick, and then Energy in that order. If you can, you want to get all 3 Fists of Fury. Now I haven't gotten lucky, so that's not the case for me. Now from a PvP perspective, relics do not work in instanced PvP. So battlegrounds, arenas, Ashran, the rank effect does not work. So whatever rank you have here really doesn't matter. However, if you are going to duel a lot or do world PvP a lot, I recommend 3 of these, 3 Transcendences. Now you want to keep in mind, if you are going to PvE at all, you probably want Fist of Fury because that's really good as well. Now the reason why I recommend the Transcendence one over Fist of Fury, at least if you're going to duel a lot, is because when you're dueling, you can actually Transcendence behind pillars very easily in 1v1s. And if you have this artifact, you're stacking 3 of them, and then you have 3 ranks in here, you can get about 35% of your health over 6 seconds compared to 20% of your health over 6 seconds. So I believe the best one for dueling is going to be Transcendence, because it's just so much healing. You can keep Transcendencing, and if you're facing like a melee, you can go with Eminence here, which will reduce the cooldown on Transcendence by 5 seconds. So you'll get a lot more healing out there, because we depend on ourselves a lot when we don't have a healer. So getting a lot of healing out there is really nice. But if you want to play it safe and you are going to do PvE as well, if you're going to raid and everything, just stick with the Fist of Fury. The Fist of Fury is really nice as well in duels. It's really not that bad of a difference there. So if you want to stick with 3 Fists of Fury for PvE reasons, that's fine. Personally, I'm going to try and get 3 Transcendences because I am going to be dueling a lot. I also do a lot of world PvP, so, but getting that's going to help a lot. It's really hard to say, really, because, like, part of me wants Fist of Fury damage because I'll be able to kill faster in PvP, but on top of that, I also want to survive without a healer, so I kind of want the Transcendence as well. It really depends on what you want to do. The other thing you need to know as well is that you will actually lose the Relic if you replace it with something else. So if you get an upgrade, it doesn't just switch them out. It actually deletes the one that's already in there. So it's not like you can have 3 Fists of Furies for PvE and then switch them out for PvP. So whatever you put in there will be destroyed if you replace it with anything else, just to keep in mind. So that's the overall guide for the artifact pathing. I recommend Transcendence or Fist of Fury for PvP. For dueling, keep in mind it doesn't work in arenas, battlegrounds, or anything instanced PvP. For PvE, Fist of Fury first, Rising Sun Kick next, and the 10 energy next as well. So Fist of Fury is the number 1. If you can get that, that's really good. The only time you want to replace Fist of Fury with a different rank is if the item level gain is more than 5, in my opinion. So overall, that's the guide. If you have any questions about the artifact, leave a comment down below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.